everybody, I'm Galia. How you doing? Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics about the ego. The evil ego. Let's start. The column this week is called My Name is Ego, You're a Killer. Hello, my name is Ego, and I'm here to destroy your relationships. I'm your best friend. And in fact, I am you. Let me teach you our rules. You better damn know that we are always right. They hurt us, so we must punish them by becoming distant, cold, and letting them suffer. Let's stay mad and not talk to them for a few days. See how they feel about that. That will teach them a big lesson and make them crawl back to us, begging us for forgiveness. I am the best, the smartest, the most intelligent, fantastic thing that exists on the whole planet. I am the ego after all, aren't I? My way of doing things is always the best. Everyone must do things my way, because I'm a control freak. I must warn you about our enemy, called love. Being your ego, I want the only thing what's best for you. I take care of you and make sure you are always protected against the enemy. Love is very tricky. Love always wants to listen to the other side of the story and also admit when I'm wrong. Can you believe it? Love requires a strange thing called compromising. It's totally beneath me. I don't do compromising. Since my opinion is always the right one, why should I agree with anyone else? They must only agree with me. If love doesn't understand that, then she could drown herself in the toilet where she belongs. I will be happy to push the handle and watch her flush down. Where she belongs. In the toilet. Because my name is Ego. And I'm the only one who truly cares about you. I want only the best for you. And if you've already seen me mention it before, I adore always saying I, since I am the center of the universe. Sounds funny, right? Unfortunately, that's exactly what happens in the minds of most people, including yours, mine, everyone's. Maybe not to such a drastic extent, but everyone's ego has gotten in the way of their happiness at least once in their life. My friend Cindy told me a story about her boyfriend. They loved each other very much. Unfortunately, after a few months, both started having problems with their jobs. This stressed them out and made them fight. They had long talks, and Sydney realized where her mistakes were. She wanted to compromise and make the necessary steps to heal the relationship. She loved him more than the air that she breathed. She loved him so much. He continued to be cold and distant, even though she made such a huge effort to come towards him and understand him. She opened her heart to him and explained why these problems occurred, because she wanted them to find a path together for the future. Sydney managed to step over her ego and did all she could do to save the relationship. His mistakes also created problems and fights, but he wouldn't admit it, unfortunately. With horror, she realized, how could a man suddenly turn off his love and emotions towards her when he supposedly loved her so much? How is it just possible to turn your emotions off? She didn't understand that. And then the bitter truth struck her. He never did truly love her. A man that genuinely loves his woman is happy when she wants to make compromises and save the relationship. Everyone is different when entering a relationship, and only compromises can save true love. Throwing something away is quite easy. His ego and pride were standing in his way. He couldn't see beyond it and made him so weak. Due to this, he lost a person that loved him very much, more than anyone did or ever will. Unfortunately, he will realize this as time goes by, when sadness and regret settle deep in his broken heart. But by then, it will be too late. Yeah, he gave in to his ego and lost the person that loved him most in life. To be able to truly love, you must drop the ego. The ego knows no difference between male or female. We all have this evil inside of us. The ego sticks its wicked claws into the person, controls them, and usually ruins their loves and lives. It must be controlled and not given any power. For example, feeling jealousy or feeling the need to argue with your partner until she admits that you're right. These fights usually occur about quite minor issues. Small issues, big fights. Small problems, huge arguments. And during times of stress, you might think that the other is taking advantage of you and your point of view is less important than theirs. My advice to you, really, because I went through this myself in my relationship, my advice to you is don't sweat the small stuff. Simply let it go. You cannot always be right. What helps is resisting the temptation to always feel the need to defend yourself. This is actually the ego defending itself. And the ego makes you think that this is how you feel as well. The ego is very tricky, very manipulative. The ego will win the argument, but you can lose your partner. Think about it. Is the situation really worth losing your loved one? Usually it's not. Usually it's just such minor little problems and situations that just close your eyes, move on. It's going to save you a lot of stress and headache and heartache. So after this initial reaction to a fight, there's sometimes a need to continue punishing the partner. He hurt you and therefore he must pay the price for this. You give him and her the silent treatment, creating mountains of distance between you two. Who will write first? Who will call first? How long will you continue to treat your partner this way after the argument? Until the love completely dies? Actually, you are also hurting yourself in the process of this unnecessary harsh treatment. You're hurting not only him or her, you're hurting yourself as well. And that's very unfortunate. What I learned in my relationships, dear ladies and gentlemen, is the most important thing is you have to learn to agree to disagree. Because two different people, two different opinions, two different frames of minds, and you will not always agree. So sometimes you have to say, okay, we don't agree, let's move on. You have to learn to agree to disagree, learn to compromise. After the arguments, the ego will always try to trick you with doubt, fear, self-defense, rethinking, reevaluating the relationship. Thinking, this doesn't make me happy anymore, I need to protect myself and get out now. The cold, brutal rationality kills any feeling of love that you both established before. There will be fights once in a while, but you must be ready to let the issues go. Or not only to give blame, but also to take some blame upon yourself. Even soulmates are challenged with fights, in order to determine if the love for each other is real and strong. Be brave and tame your ego. Build your own inner strength. This will not humiliate you, quite actually the opposite. This will make you strong and brave, if you manage to do that. How much longer do you want to be a slave of your ego? Because when you think about it, that's exactly what it is. That's what human beings are. We're slaves to our egos because we let the ego control us. If you're not willing to adjust to each other and work together on your relationship, then do yourself and your heart a favor. Do not fall in love at all. Because if you don't adjust, if you don't compromise, if you don't tame the ego, you will always be fighting in your relationships with a new person as well as the next and the next partner. So try this at home, make a test, try to control your ego next time and be brave. Yeah, thank you for listening and see you next week.